Welcome to the Grow in Sahuarita podcast, where we talk about all things to growing your business in Sahuarita. Enjoy this episode.
One thing that I like to mention too, going back to the nationals and before we outreach, right? So we get that feedback, we make our lists, filter, and whatever we have to filter. But one of the things that ever since I've been in the organization, and I take a lot of pride on how much we do preparation before we actually do outreach, right? So it's not just picking up the phone call or sending emails like crazy, but we have to gather data, right? Because in a sense, like we become like salespeople, and we're selling Sahuarita. And so this data, where do we get this data? Well, I mean, when was it? I think like 2 years ago, we onboarded this software platform. It's called Placer AI that allows us to just have access to the most accurate and recent data on demographics, on visitors, foot traffic, vehicle traffic. I mean, it's just so robust. Mm-hmm. And you know what? From the first year that I started, which was in 2023 to now, and the conversations that we've had with retailers, I can definitely say that equipping ourselves with the data and the knowledge that we need, it's been a game changer because we look more prepared. It's obviously looks more professional, right?
Absolutely.
We're able to provide the information that some of these nationals or retailers are looking for in a matter of like a couple of hours, and it's there in their inbox, right, if they are finding interest. And so, I mean, this information that we typically, that they're looking for, and some of these retailers, they have access to, but it's still nice to kind of confirm that data. And so what do you think, and I know the answer to this, right? But like in your perspective, right, as an organization, what are we trying to accomplish in that first conversation?
That first conversation is a little bit of a painting the picture, storytelling.
Yeah.
To your point, data is very much important.
Yeah.
I believe data was the game changer for Roadhouse and the decision to locate in Sahuarita. Because when they look at Sahuarita, whether it's a local or a national, it's a very two-dimensional perspective. It's generating a report off a third-party source, and that report has demographic information, household income. So really your standard boilerplate demographic report.
Another big one is workforce, right? That they look
workforce
into.
As well.
It's a
as
big
well.
One. Yeah.
And so it's very two-dimensional. And so what we're trying to achieve, right, in that first meeting, that connection, that site visit is connecting the dots.
Yeah.
It's going beyond the data on the paper and providing them anecdotal, but also data, which I'll get to Placer AI and what that did for Roadhouse. Mm-hmm. But it's anecdotal, but also data that connects the dots and really gives them an understanding of the market for Sahuarita and the fluency of that market. To give you an example, when you look at Sahuarita on the map, it's a very linear market.
Yeah.
Right. So it goes from north to south along I-19.
Yeah.
And we include Green Valley and its population in our demographics and in that storytelling. But what nationals, right, somebody that's just looking at the data, what they'll fail to understand is the market radius that we have.
Yeah.
It's beyond Sahuarita and the Green Valley area. It includes Corona de Tucson to the east. It includes Tubac and even Rio Rico, as far south as Rio Rico. But also it includes, and to our surprise, Alex, when we use Placer AI for Roadhouse, it includes a market that extends into South Tucson. And that's right, a combination of the data and the storytelling in which we connect those dots.
Yeah.
So again, Roadhouse was a perfect example where we utilized Placer AI to understand, one, the leakage
Yeah.
of Sahuarita residents going to the movie theater operations in Tucson,
Yeah.
whether that was Harkins, Century,
Yeah.
but also Roadhouse, and painting that picture for them that by locating in Sahuarita, this is the market that they will capture. But also we were able to show through data, tell that story of what the data was telling us, that a significant number of people are already traveling to Sahuarita from the South Tucson vicinity, the airport vicinity, and the West Valencia area to our community and the shopping centers that we have here, whether it's the Fry's Marketplace or Walmart.
Yeah.
And that is something that a traditional demographic report is not going to articulate. But we were able to do so through the use of Placer AI, data set that we procured. But then we're connecting the dots for Roadhouse and articulating what that market dynamic is that they otherwise wouldn't be able to interpret through a demographic report.
I love the way you're explaining this. And so for the listener, I mean, if we were to put it in simple terms, it's like we are forming a story, right? And the story, whose story? Well, Sahuarita's story. And that story has to have, obviously, the framework of like strong, solidified data, and then it has the anecdotal piece of it. And back to the example that you used for Roadhouse, I think they saw like all the comments on social media and how people were so excited about the idea of them being here. And that definitely sparked excitement on their end and on our end too. I mean, we were so excited to establish the conversation. And then we ended up solidifying that story, if you will, by looking at numbers and then being able to say, look, and really it was just confirming, what the story is saying. And now you're confirming with like solidified data. So we have gone from, we're listening to the community, the residents, we're paying attention, we're listening to feedback, we gather that information, and then we go and take the task to start filtering, making a list, and then performing. Before we perform outreach, we do some preparation, we even went as far as creating what we call the community profile, which is a printed material that also these retailers can see if we are meeting face to face. And so we do all that work, we start doing the outreach, and then what happens next?
What happens next is site visits, the follow-up.
Yeah.
It's probably the longest phase of this process of attracting a company, the collecting of the data, the understanding of what that company, retailer, restaurant is looking at. All of that is at the front end, and we move fairly quickly through that process.
Yeah.
The connections and the sales proposition that we present before that retailer or restaurant.
Which by the time they're here, that means that we're doing a pretty good job, in sparking that interest in Sahuarita. And we've had our handful of visitors, both local and retailers and chains. And so they come, they do the site visits, and like you said, that's what takes the most time.
Yes, yeah, it's both a sprint and a marathon.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I would describe it. It's a sprint in that there's the opportunity that presents itself to connect with the retailer or the restaurant. And typically that opportunity happens by way of, right, there's an event or there's an introduction that's made to this restaurant operator, right? All those are just, and we're continuously looking at, right? Where's the opportunity? Where's the opportunity to connect, to be introduced? Once that connection happens, then there's a sprint to getting all that information collected, right? Generating the profile of the Sahuarita market so that the restaurant retailer has an understanding. And for us, right, we get excited when we have a site visit.
Yeah.
Because that's like, great. There's an interest, obviously. They see the opportunity. And so when we schedule that site visit, it's like,
it's exciting.
It's exciting. It's, let's ring the bell. And and there's times where, that isn't that's not very public, only because, right, they're just doing their due diligence.
Yeah.
There isn't really anything tangible.
Right. Nothing set in stone.
Nothing set in stone. And so after that initial site visit, then it becomes just continuing to develop that relationship. It's, updating that individual or restaurant periodically on something new about Sahuarita, whether it's, new subdivisions or an update to our residential development, or also updates to policy. Just a few months ago, Town Council approved an economic development incentive program.
It's a great tool.
And so those are ways in which we use to connect with these restaurant retailers, because after that site visit, it's the real estate, right? So we've done our part in convincing them to look at Sahuarita. So the next part is what is the real estate availability and the options for them to either buy land to construct or a vacant building for them to locate. So that's a whole different process. We obviously get involved in that by identifying sites, introducing them to property owners, having them get a sense of what our community development permitting process is.
Sometimes we facilitate that extra connection and the meeting, whether it's virtual or in person, with the landowners, developers.
And so that phase is really much a marathon. Is the operator, the restaurant, the retailer, they might have a general sense of maybe when they would want to open. But typically we're looking at, post 12, 24 months time frame for them to either make a decision or open.
And the thing is, one of the things that I like to, it's helpful for me to understand both as a employee and team member of this organization and as a resident. I've gotten to understand that sometimes we have that conversation, right? So we earn their interest. And sometimes it's a straight no, it's not going to happen. It doesn't work for us. Sometimes it's, I'm kind of interested. Send me more information. I want to learn more, right? And so there's follow-up conversations, meetings, what have you. Sometimes is, we're not saying no, let's revisit this conversation 2-3 years down the road. And that's happened. That's happened ever since I've been here. And then sometimes it's the yeses, right? That they're not often, but when we land them, it's exciting. And that's when we're able to kind of like make it public, make an announcement. But definitely it takes time. And to your point, right? From the yes to the actually grand opening, it's I wish it would be like 4 months, 6 months. It doesn't happen that way, especially if there's going to be new build outs. The permitting process, obviously you have to submit development plans to your community development department. So there's an entire phase that perhaps at a different episode we'll invite our director for community development so that she can explain to us what that process looks like, especially for businesses. But for those who are listening right now, I mean, if you're paying close attention, right, it goes without mentioning that it's a lengthy process and it's detailed, it's specific, it's very targeted and aimed at what we're looking for, and like I said, it takes a lot of relationship building. So we make those connections, we introduce them to landowners, developers, and all that really, really takes time. Now, while we're doing this at the same time, going back to the locals, we can't go without supporting the local existing businesses. So what are some of the things that we are doing currently, Victor, to support those local businesses?
Yeah, well, Growing Sahuarita is a great example of what we're doing to support these businesses. Obviously, that program has been shared at length through this podcast, through our social media channels. It's our way to support entrepreneurs, whether it's an established business that wants to grow or a home-based business that at some point wants to make the transition to brick and mortar. But we also welcome those individuals that are aspiring to be entrepreneurs, that have an idea. And that's the part that I think we enjoy, because these individuals approach us and their idea many times is a means to address what we don't have.
Yeah.
We've had individuals approach us with the idea of entertainment centers,
yes,
of miniature golf or these golf ranges, you name it. And though those things aren't going to happen overnight, we certainly want to support those individuals and provide them with direction as to what steps they can take. Sometimes that direction is maybe a little bit of just reality check.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can share the number of times that I've visited with an individual, and many times my follow-up question is, share with me the experience you have, or the background to what you're proposing, because that's a good indicator of success. So those are what we're trying to do, and we do that through partnerships as well, through the likes of SBDC and other resource partners. Growing Sahuarita program has been largely successful through the efforts of our business coaches, and so that's what makes our program unique.
Yeah.
Is that we have business coaches that are able to lend their time through our program for one-on-one coaching sessions on different topics. But what's great is that they set up an action plan, and that plan guides the decisions that the entrepreneur needs to make in order to get them from A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and all the way through letter Z. And I think if by far, if we're not doing this type of service, it doesn't complement our attraction.
Yeah.
Because we can focus all our efforts on attracting businesses, and rightly so, to get new services, retailers, and restaurant operators. But equally, when we attract or look to attract a business, we're also articulating how we're supporting local businesses. Because once that business that we attract locates in Sahuarita, we don't necessarily forget about them.
Right.
The Growing Sahuarita program is a means to supporting that business as it operates in Sahuarita, whether it's in that first year or if they've been operating for a number of years.
Yeah. The way I would view it or describe it is definitely that two-edged sword, where one side we're doing all that intentional work to reach out to those names that we get, right, those requests that we get, without forgetting or letting go whatsoever of the local businesses. And so it's definitely been fun to see, right, how local businesses are growing while we're doing behind the scenes work to attract new business. So if you could leave residents and local business owners with just one message as the Director of Economic Development and Public Affairs, if you can leave them with just one message of what it takes to attract new business, what would it be?
My message more so is a task. I would say continue to visit those establishments in the Tucson area that you like, and in doing so, share with them how great, right, Sahuarita is, how wonderful it would be to have that restaurant establishment in our community, and share that with us so that we can use that as a means to connect with that business. So, Sahuarita residents, by far, they are our most effective ambassador for Sahuarita.
Absolutely.
They live in the community. They know they have a pulse in the community.
100%.
And when businesses hear directly from their consumers, right, their customers, as to wouldn't it be great, that by far has a big impact.
Yeah.
In them considering, right, the restaurant considering looking at Sahuarita. So that would be my message. Go out there, and when you're visiting with an operator, restaurant, retailer in Tucson, and just say, hey, we'd love to have you in Sahuarita.
Yeah.
What would it take?
Drop the name. Right?
That's right.
Yeah. And my message to everyone listening is don't stop visiting those local businesses as well. That's what, obviously, it strengthens our economy. And it's just, it's really what makes a community really valuable and really brings us together. So also continue supporting your local businesses. Some of them are seasonal. You will see them right during the holidays. Some of them are taking advantage of our signature events at the town. And so you'll see them setting up their tents. Visit those local businesses, consume their products, buy their products, because that's really what this is all about. It's not just attracting, but also supporting the local. And so to everyone listening, please know that your voice really matters. And when you share what kinds of businesses or services you would like to see in Sahuarita, that really helps us stay informed and informs the work that we continue to do. And so as we continue to build relationships with retailers, restaurants, developers, our goal is to support, a stronger and more vibrant economy. And as always, if you are a small business owner, or if you are thinking about starting a business, the Grow Sahuarita program is here to support you 100% free, no cost. And so you can reach us at any time at grow@sahuaritaaz.gov. Again, that is grow@sahuaritaaz.gov. You can always email us. And again, we are listening. If you have suggestions, if you have feedback you'd like to provide, use the same email, grow@sahuaritaaz.gov. Any last words that you'd like to tell the listeners?
Thank you, Alex, for this episode. I think by far, right, it's a lot easier said than done on the attraction side.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to us to peel back a little bit about the curtain. But we are listening to our residents. We try our best. And although many times there are other external factors that limits the ability to attract that restaurant or that retailer, we are certainly doing our part and telling the story to those and all that are wanting to locate in Sahuarita.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Victor, for being here. And to all the listeners, thank you for listening. And we'll see you on the next podcast.